This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Hi, and welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sanders. This is the place to be if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or you want to grow your business. We tell 7 entrepreneurial stories every week, from getting started to gaining access to capital, also running your business day to day. We also hear from regular contributors who cover the week in business, what's happening each day, and experts at managing money who discuss accounting and bookkeeping. We have a weekly industry focus, and we wrap things up with what we hope will be an inspirational success story. We're here with a new show every Sunday on Wish TV. You can also always live stream us this hour on wishtv.com. We post each of our 7 weekly segments from past shows on our website. It's beoshow.com. There you can watch them, share them, scan the QR code with your phone right now, and it'll take you right there. While you're there, listen to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities podcast, part of the All Indiana Podcast Network, and subscribe to the weekly newsletter that we update every Tuesday with new information. Let's get to the business of business. Here's what's coming up today on Business, Equity, and Opportunities. A new exhibit showcases the art of modern manufacturing. Jane King is back from the NASDAQ with the latest news in a busy week. CPA Courtney Kincaid talks mergers and acquisitions. Racing truly runs in the family. Our industry focus is on slim chickens, and our success story features a florist, bodybuilder, and cancer survivor, all in one. First matter of business, getting started. Wish TV's Camila Fernandez has the story of a Latina who works to strengthen Hispanic businesses. Meet Marcela Montero.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
While immigrant entrepreneurs are a force in the economy, they often face unique challenges when starting a business. Luckily, in Indianapolis, there's a Latina who's helping to change that.
Sometimes putting ourselves in difficult situations, it might be difficult at that moment, but there's so much to learn.
Marcela Montero knows the difficulties of starting a business all too well.
Many don't know, they have the idea about having a business and they don't know where to go. And so that's what we're trying to do, especially with the Latino Business Support Network, is to make sure that we reach a larger audience and they know exactly which organizations can help them.
She's a director of the Hispanic Business Council at the Indy Chamber. Montero says she grew up watching her parents run a business in Ecuador. Since moving to the United States in 2001, she found a new calling in her life.
My dad passed away, so I saw my mom trying to handle everything. The business, the running a home, a family, and things were not perfect, well, anywhere, but it's even worse in our countries, unfortunately.
After watching her mom, she says for an immigrant, starting a business in the U.S. can be difficult for various reasons.
There were not enough resources, resources in Spanish available, and the access to capital was also a hurdle for her. So I've witnessed that, and I feel that I am connected with the business community.
That's why she's focusing on providing greater opportunities and free resources in Spanish and English to support Hispanic businesses in the community. She says it's also important for them to build trust.
Right now, that is one of the goals, especially for next year, is myself and my colleague who just started working with me to go more out there to the community and talking to businesses so they can feel comfortable connecting with us.
Montero says the Hispanic Business Council is already planning for more educational and networking events for next year. I'm Camila Fernandez for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.
Getting started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
If you'd like more information about the Indy Chamber Hispanic Business Council, or if you'd like to view any of our Getting Started stories, use the link on our website, beoshow.com. During this hour, quickest way is just to scan the QR code on your screen. If you have information that has helped you launch or operate a small business, tell us how you're doing. We'd love to share your story. The email address is beo@wishtv.com. Coming up, modern manufacturing has an art to it. You'll see what we mean when Business, Equity, and Opportunities return.
Grow your business with Wish TV's featured business directory. For less than $200 a month, he wanted the limited businesses in 30 different categories, benefiting from one of the top visited websites in Indiana and Indiana's only statewide news station. Space is limited. Contact us today.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time for accessing capital. October is National Manufacturing Month. Michael Durr is an Indianapolis-based photographer who traveled statewide to capture nearly 80,000 images documenting how manufacturers and workers are using smart manufacturing technologies like advanced robotics to increase productivity and competitiveness. The result is center stage in a new art exhibit, The Art of Modern Manufacturing, Views Through a Different Lens. Take a look.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Conexus Indiana, we're a nonprofit organization, and our focus for the past 15 years has been to help strengthen Indiana's advanced manufacturing and logistics industries. And a big part of that is to educate the public about the importance of manufacturing to Indiana's economy, to Hoosier jobs. They're very good paying jobs, and we make products here in Indiana that touch people around the world. Manufacturing Day was on Friday, October 6th. It's all about trying to educate the public about the importance of manufacturing, especially here in Indiana. Manufacturing employs 530,000 Hoosiers. There's almost 10,000 manufacturers around the state. So we've been around the state taking photos of manufacturing facilities and decided that these photos tell wonderful stories about what's happening in Indiana manufacturing. So we started this exhibit and is open to the public through October. The artist is a local photographer. His name is Michael Durr. He's worked with us for 3 years. He has taken 80,000 photos at manufacturers throughout the state of Indiana. And the goal was to showcase the technology that manufacturers are using in today's manufacturing processes. He kind of found art in the process. He found people working with machinery. He saw people working alongside cobots. He saw interesting materials being created that he had no idea Indiana was manufacturing. So for him, it really opened up a whole new view of manufacturing. We thought, let's bring his viewpoint to everyone else. And that's what the reason for the exhibit.
Each of these images are enabled by the Manufacturing Readiness Grants program. So it's a program run by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And Indiana manufacturers can apply for up to $200,000 in grant funding to adopt new technologies in their production process. So each of these images are exactly showing that. You can see cobots, robotics, high-tech machines with software integration, 3D printing. The images are telling the stories of companies implementing those technologies. And a lot of it is often referred to as Industry 4.0, so the next revolution in manufacturing, sometimes also called smart manufacturing. When we think of Indiana, it's extremely diverse in the manufacturing industries that operate. So you can think of automotive, so we have major OEMs that operate here in Indiana, some aerospace and defense companies, a lot of food and beverage, a lot of industrial machinery and industrial equipment manufacturers, all the way down to furniture and textile products. As I mentioned, the types of technologies that companies are investing in, they do require significant investment in time and expertise and workforce training. So the funding is there to support companies on that digital journey. And what we've seen with the funding being available to companies is they're able to do something really innovative, perhaps more than they otherwise would have done without that support, perhaps expand the scope of the project or accelerate the timeline of the project. What we talk about a lot at Conexus is keeping workforce development in lockstep with technology adoption. So you think of all the technologies in these images, robotics, cobots, 3D printing, certainly some artificial intelligence and machine learning. Companies are invested in that, they want to be doing it, so of course we need to develop and build those skills in Indiana's workforce as well. And there are major players, of course, announcing new degree programs. Ones that come to mind, Ivy Tech has just recently launched a smart manufacturing and integration degree program. Purdue University announced the first ever semiconductor degree program. So folks are getting on board to support technology adoption in the industries. In general, the United States is invested in bringing back a lot of the manufacturing. Onshoring is a term that you hear. There's a lot of money going around, certainly in semiconductors and pharmaceutical manufacturing. Electric vehicles and batteries are all hot topics with a lot of money to support growth. And the manufacturing readiness grants is just another example of how manufacturers can get access to capital to invest in these types of new technologies.
Of the almost 500 companies that have received manufacturing readiness grants, we have done case studies with 50 of them. And in each case, we have heard that they are either hiring more employees to work with the technology or upskilling employees to work with the technology. So it really is changing the types of jobs that are available in manufacturing, which is very good for especially the newer generation, Gen Z. They like technology, and there's a lot of opportunity to excel in that area.
The Art of Manufacturing Views Through a Different Lens runs now through Friday, October 27th at AMP at 16 Tech in Indianapolis. If you'd like to see the exhibit, it's free. If you want more information about it or the IEDC Manufacturing Readiness Grants, we have links on our website, beoshow.com. Later this hour, Courtney Kincaid on mergers and acquisitions. Next, though, our NASDAQ insider, Jane King, has the week in business.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
Welcome back to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Time to talk about this week in business. It has been a busy one, from how Wall Street views the war in Israel to the growing auto workers strike, the start of holiday shopping already, and the coming arrival of Wawa. Here with all that and more is our insider, Jane King at the NASDAQ. Jane!
Thanks, Scott. Wall Street, of course, has been watching the war between Israel and Hamas. Oil prices initially rocketed higher on Wall Street Journal reports that Iran was behind the Hamas attacks. That could disrupt the flow of oil globally, just as the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve has a 17 to 20-day supply of oil. While there were other economic impacts, defense companies like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and General Dynamics were up on the war. Investors speculate this could mean ordering more weapons. Now, shares of General Dynamics, which makes submarines and combat vehicles, rose the most since March of 2020 when it gained over 9%. Also, Boeing is speeding up delivery of smart bombs to Israel after the Hamas attacks. The bombs were part of a 2021 purchase agreement that is being accelerated. The airlines have suffered from twin worries of rising oil prices as well as the halted flights to Israel, but at the same time, interest rates have fallen this week, and the broader markets are paying attention to that, and that has lifted overall stocks. Meanwhile, the UAW strike continues on. GM and Stellantis have laid off more than 800 additional workers. GM said the number of affected employees has increased to 13 at the Marion Metal Center. The total number of strike-related layoffs at GM now tops 2,300. General Motors said regular employees who are UAW members will get a 20% wage increase over the life of the contract, with a 10% increase in the first year. The new offer also has cost of living adjustments, according to a Detroit TV station. Well, Wawa convenience stores will open 120 new locations in Indiana and Ohio. Wawa will open about 60 stores in the Hoosier state during the next 10 years, with the first groundbreaking in mid-2024. Wawa has more than 15 sites under contract across Clark, Dearborn, Delaware, Hamilton, Hancock, Hendricks, Johnson, Madison, Marion, and Wayne counties. Wawa is a hugely popular convenience store chain headquartered in Pennsylvania. Well, U.S. small business sentiment declined slightly again in September on continued worries about inflation and persistent labor shortages. September's report was similar in tone to the one for August, which saw the first dip in optimism since April, with businesses noting the tight labor market as inflation as their top concerns. Small businesses are facing higher borrowing costs for credit, as well as the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates, and widespread economic uncertainty has also grown surrounding projections of a future recession, and that has weighed on the outlook for small businesses as well. Well, meanwhile, the holiday shopping season is underway. Walmart and Kohl's have kicked off their 2023 holiday sales. Also, Amazon kicked off the second Prime Sales event this past week, and Adobe recently projected that online shopping sales, in particular over the holiday season, so this would be November 1st through the end of the year, will reach $221 billion. Meanwhile, the National Retail Federation says Halloween spending will reach a record $12.2 billion as participation exceeds pre-pandemic levels. Americans will spend the most on candy, followed by decorations. Well, taking a look at the week ahead, the big earnings in the coming days will be from the banks. The impact of higher interest rates will be a main focus. Also, banks always give a hint to how the consumer is doing in terms of debt and paying off credit cards. They will share their insights into commercial real estate, which is suffering as many employees continue to spend at least part of their week working from home. Scott, back to you.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
Jane King at the NASDAQ. Also this week in business, celebrating the strength and resilience of women who have conquered cancer. The Women's Cancer Survivor Brunch and Resource Fair is a gathering of women who have triumphed over breast cancer and other forms of disease that target women. It is set for Saturday, October 21st in Lafayette. We have more specifics about the event later in this hour. Small Business Administration is still hosting its second annual Cyber Summit. There are sessions each Wednesday of the month. Indiana Small Business Expo 2023 Trade Show Conference is set for Thursday, November 9th. It's from 1 to 7. It'll be at the 502 East Event Center in Carmel. To be a member or a sponsor of the expo, or to go to the conference, go to beoshow.com. There you'll find links to more information about all of these events. If your business has an event that you'd like us to mention on our show, send us an email. You know the word by now, 3 weeks ahead of time, beo@wishtv.com. Coming up, the family that races together stays together. Before that, though, accounting and bookkeeping with Courtney Kincaid. This is Business Equity and Opportunities.
Grow your business with Wish TV's featured business directory. For less than $200 a month, be one of the limited businesses in 30 different categories, benefiting from one of the top visited websites in Indiana and Indiana's only statewide news station. Space is limited. Contact us today.
Time to talk dollars and cents and how to track all of it. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sanders. On this show, we talk a lot about growing your business. One way to do that is to merge with somebody else's business and mind your accounting and bookkeeping at the time. Local example, remember Burger Chef? Hardee's merged with it to enter the Midwest, then Carl's Jr. bought Hardee's to buy a national presence. Navigating the murky waters of such mergers and acquisitions can be challenging. Fortunately, we have the president and CEO of the Indiana CPA Society at the helm. Here's Courtney Kincaid.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
I'm here today to talk to you about mergers and acquisitions. And when we talk about mergers and acquisitions, it's often not a topic that small business owners or entrepreneurs are necessarily thinking of. When we talk about that topic, people tend to think of these big business transactions. But sometimes it's actually a really great opportunity for small businesses. When you think about mergers and acquisitions, they're really great ways to kind of diversify what you're doing, to expand your reach, and to help lower some costs. It's also a good way in this economy where we're having difficulty finding staff that maybe sometimes you're looking for some staff and bringing on some new competencies. There are some risks and considerations that you really need to take into mind and factor into your decision of this would be a good fit. And some of those are, intangibles like culture. Does your culture fit with the other organization? Is it a good combination? There are also other factors such as how are you going to change your processes? But there's regulatory considerations as well. And as you navigate these risks, you're also going to be thinking, obviously, if you're the one acquiring the other company, is this company's valuation correct? One of the worst things you would want to do is to acquire something and pay too much money for it. When you think about all of those considerations, you really start to see why CPA would be a really, really great resource as you navigate this process. Obviously, CPAs are known for regulatory understanding, from tax implications to other considerations as well. But also, sometimes people don't realize that CPAs are really in tune to technology and helping to integrate two different systems into one. So they really are a full package when it comes to helping two organizations merge together. As you think about valuation, which we said is a possible pitfall, obviously this is an area of expertise for the profession. There are a lot of factors that go into business valuation. It's not the same as selling your house. You have really different assets, and so understanding what those assets are and what the market value is for those is really crucial, and a CPA is really helpful in navigating that process.
You can see all of our accounting and bookkeeping segments through BEOshow.com. Scan the QR code on your screen. We'll get you right there. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday, and subscribe to the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast so you can listen to the wisdom of our contributors on your schedule. Later, our industry focus is on a Hispanic fast food franchisee and his growing portfolio. Before that, we meet a self-described scrappy racing family. This is Business Equity and Opportunities.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Time to talk about the fun stuff, running your business day to day. Today we look at a family business. Mike Salinas runs it. His two daughters work with him. Not uncommon for a business to be shared effort of different generations. But when the business is racing, the whole family truly puts the pedal to the metal.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
We were the kids back in the 60s, picking up scrap metal and driving around in those little pickup trucks, picking up scrap metal and doing that type of work. But I just had a bigger vision of you start there, but doesn't mean you have to stay there. And we have this thing that in our family that we're on the move. So we've been moving ever since, and we still can't stop today. To be honest with you, we're always looking to expand, grow, different areas, different industries too. So just keep on moving. The girls would go to school, They were really young. They would go to school, and all their friends got to go have play dates and get ready for vacations, and they came to work. So we used the same method that my family used for me, and they went to work, and they would work Saturdays and Sundays and at the garbage dump. And I didn't think it was very fair for me to be racing and them to sit watching me and hanging out. And so we took them out there for a little race, and they loved it. Some of them stuck and some of them didn't. The other ones went towards the business side, and some of them went towards the racing side, the business side of racing. So, but they all found their way. A couple of them are kind of crazy and they love this stuff, and they probably get that from their mom, you know. So it's kind of nice. I don't think the sport is as fun without having the family there for me. When people walk up to me and say, well, you built something great, you know, they never take into consideration that my daughters were in playpens, and then they were working the window, and then my wife was there. So it wasn't only me, it was all of us as a group, a collaborative group. And as long as you think like that and still stay like that, it'll be good. In one form or fashion, they're all running part of the businesses. And it's a nice thing to watch them grow and watch them, you know, buy homes and be successful and be great productive citizens.
Yeah, so I started junior drag racing, like my dad said, with my younger sisters, and you know, we grew up just, you know, watching him do this, and then it became something where we got to become a part of it. And then as we got older and we're starting to age out of junior drag racing, that's, you know, kind of where we got to decide, like, is this something we really want to do? And I knew, like, by the time I was in my senior year of high school, you know, I was looking at colleges anything that was close to a racetrack. And, you know, I was very fortunate that my parents were like, you know, focus on school first, and, you know, drag racing will always be there. And so I was very fortunate enough to be able to go to college and finish college. And then after college, you know, I still realized that I had this, like, yearning to just be around drag racing. And so that's when I decided to go work on my dad's team, and I just said, you know, I just want to be a part of this any way possible. And so I started working in the office. After I was working on his car for 2 years, you know, he kind of asked me, he's like, do you actually want to get in the driver's seat and feel what I'm feeling? And I said, yeah, of course, you know. And so I was really grateful that my parents gave me the opportunity, and, you know, my whole family really helped to make it possible so that I can start racing on my own. And so we were able to get myself a whole team and a crew, and I started racing in Top Alcohol Dragster, and I've been racing that for about 4 years now. And it's just been such an incredible experience being able to, you know, feel everything that, you know, I remember working on in the back, and knowing now that I'm driving that. And so just recently, I think about a week ago, I've been officially licensed in Top Fuel, you know, which is the same class that my dad's competing in. They call it the king of the sport, and, you know, just to be able to think about where I started, you know, as a little kid, and now looking back all these years to realize that I've, you know, made it into a class. I haven't even began racing, but just to be able to get the license, you know, and be part of that class where it's, you know, those are my heroes. Those are the people I looked up to, and they were these bigger than life people. And now I just get to be part of it for now. And that's, for me, is really exciting.
I feel like when I think about when I got into racing, I feel like it's just always been in my life. You know, I was very lucky. It's always been in our family. I remember spending all of our weekends at the racetrack, finishing all our homework on Fridays as fast as we can so we could go spend Saturday, Sunday at the track with our mom and dad. You know, I have a lot of really great memories. I'm very lucky. That's where I grew up at, and I wouldn't change any of it. So I'm definitely more of a two-wheels gal. As much as I love cars, I always loved motorcycles. My father comes from a big motorcycle family. His mother actually rode motorcycles as well. And there was always this photo of her, they called her Cha-Cha. She rode this amazing bike, and I remember growing up looking at this photo thinking, my gosh, she is the coolest woman I've ever seen. She had the leather jacket, the boots, all of it. And it was just an inspiration for myself, and I just love the adrenaline of it. I love the excitement, the danger, the no seatbelts. For me, that's a comforting thing, which a lot of people can't get their head around, and that's kind of how I knew that I was going to be a bike person. You know, every chance that my sisters and I get to go out there and show that, you know, it's not always going to be this easy journey, but I mean, that's life. But, you know, you fall down, you get back up. And, you know, that's been our message from the beginning of when we came out here. It's that this isn't easy, you know, it's tough, but that's life. But just keep pushing, and that if we can do it, you can do it also.
For links and more information about Scrappers Racing, head to BEOshow.com, QR code on your screen. We'll hook you right up. Coming up, we talk about a florist, bodybuilder, cancer survivor, all in one. Hear her success story. First, though, running a fast food restaurant is no slim chicken. Or is it? This is Business Equity and Opportunity.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for our industry focus. Today, the focus is on franchising. In this case, fast food franchises. Al Cabrera is the country's largest Hispanic Burger King franchise owner, but he's not done. Instead of Whoppers, his new venture sees Cabrera and his cousin bringing Southern chicken, a catchy name, and jobs to the Midwest.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Industry focus.
Mr. Cabrera came here, actually his family from Cuba, is from the Miami area and has operated Burger King restaurants all over the Southeast for the last 30 years or so. At one point, operated as many as 650 Burger King restaurants and was good enough at that to be voted Nation Restaurant News as Operator of the Year. He was looking for the next big thing for him to be a part of. Slim Chickens is a very fast-growing franchise group. It's been in the top 10 the last 2 years, actually, as a fast-growing restaurant chain. And Al is someone who would recognize that and just got on board. In 2021, Mr. Cabrera, Alvaro Cabrera, our owner, purchased the rights to build 71 Slim Chickens restaurants in Indiana, Chicagoland area, and Miami. And so today is part of that culmination. We've opened our second restaurant right here in Indianapolis on the north side. In Indiana, we're kind of hoping to build 40 to 45 across the entire state. We own the entire market. Mr. Cabrera bought the rights to build 71 restaurants, and which actually makes him the largest franchisee when we get those stores built and open.
One of the biggest things that I learned doing this, and that has surprised me over the years, is how awesome it is to build a team from the ground up, and also carrying those relationships for years down the road. I mean, this is my 70th restaurant that I've opened, and I still talk to people from the very first one. This is a really big bonding experience for a lot of people. You know, coming in, starting a restaurant from the ground up, people look up to us as mentors, you know, and being able to carry those relationships for decades down the road has probably been the thing that has surprised me the most, that continues time and time again. It begins with us making sure that we have a cool head going into this. I always tell them it's like a duck on water, right? Above water, I'm cool, calm, and collected, but below water, my feet are going like crazy, you know, just trying to stay afloat. So a lot of it is making sure that we are, you know, presenting the type of personality and how we want them to react in certain scenarios ahead of that. Not, you know, if we freak out, they're gonna freak out. So it's staying calm. Again, I think a lot of it too is, you know, we're really big on perfect practice equals perfect performance. So we really train really hard. Like, we go above and beyond what we think we're even gonna do on a grand opening day. So when it does hit, we're ready for it.
We all hear the word capital and we don't quite understand what that actually means, but to get to day one here and actually start bringing money into a cash register took millions and millions of dollars and lots of vision and lots of you know, just belief that it's going to work when we're sending people all around the country to train, when we're buying real estate, building buildings. There's a lot of things that have to happen before that cash register starts rolling. So that's certainly a big factor for a prospective owner. For me, it's always been the people. I've been in this business with my family for almost all my life in the restaurant business, and I still get a kick out of seeing someone pleased that their food is hot, tastes great. They like our atmosphere, they like our guitars on the wall. That kind of stuff is still fun for me. And also, you know, we always say, you know, we want happy guests and happy employees. A new employee figuring out how to do the job right and finding satisfaction and taking care of their families, that's very rewarding for me.
I go back home, and if I don't have a restaurant opening for a while, I yearn for that moment of that excitement 10 minutes before you open, everybody's nerves going crazy, and then being able to, you know, at the end of the day say, hey, we did this as a team. Together we did this as a team, and we were able to, you know, break records at some of these. This happens often, you know, with this company really just kind of getting their foot in the ground and starting their growth cycle. I mean, those records are being broke over and over and over, and being able to see that excitement, again, is something that I tell people on day one. You're gonna remember this moment for the rest of your life. I promise you will. I mean, it's 20 years ago I opened up my first restaurant, and I'm still doing it. You know, I never thought I would continue doing this for as long as I have.
Industry Focus is made possible by Circulus Digital Media.
If you're interested in starting a business and you'd like to revisit any of our past segments, they always live at beoshow.com. We would love it if you'd share those segments with family, friends, potential business partners through Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, email. Just go to beoshow.com, find the video you're interested in, use the buttons right underneath it, that easy. When we return, we meet a true survivor, our success story on the other side of this break. Time to wrap things up with our success story. Paula Davis is truly multifaceted. She's a bodybuilding, cancer-surviving florist who owns Blooms and Petals in Lafayette, Indiana. She's been through a lot. She knows other women are going through it too. She is, though, clearly tough, and she knows there's strength in numbers.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
My hand was kind of forced on the becoming an actual florist, a retail florist. See, I had always, flowers were a passion. They were something that I had grew up around. My great aunt was a homemaker, and so she would grow the flowers and vegetables and things, and then preserve them, sell them, make arrangements. And I was curious about that, and she showed me how to do that. So I always used flowers through high school. Even in college, I would make a little side business doing flowers. So when I graduated from Purdue and before I went to law school, I started doing like farmers market with flowers on the weekend, and I would set up at craft shows and trade shows. And as my corporate career took off, it was great. I would use it as a way to do gifts, right? So I would make gift baskets for my clients. I would make floral arrangements for my clients. I would sometimes host events, business events, and make the floral arrangements for that, which eventually became other jobs and other opportunities. And my travel was really interfering with my family life as well, because I was traveling a lot. So I came home one weekend, and my husband said, I have a surprise for you. Well, we were trying to get a new house, and we were debating about whether we could afford it. And he was like, no, we can't afford it. So I figured the surprise is the new house. He went on and did it. So, but he didn't say for sure. So he puts the blindfold around my eyes, and he's driving around, and I'm thinking, yeah, we're going to the new house. Got me a new house, right? And he gets me, and I still got the blindfold on. He gives me the key, turn the lock, walk in, takes off the blindfold. It's like, this isn't a house. This is a retail storefront. He's like, yes, I went and rented you a space to start your floral business in. So that is literally that away we went. It was within a year of that I resigned my position. I had enough items between my house, my garage, my storage units that I had to put some investment into it. But it was a turnkey operation because my customers followed me from my home-based business. So initially, I did not have any ideas of being an entrepreneur, but it began to manifest itself. That's what I truly am at heart, an entrepreneur. Yes, well, definitely. It definitely had some professional challenges. When I started in this business, circa 1999, there were not a lot of black people in the business, and so that was something that I had to navigate and navigate my way through in the industry. And at times that provided challenges. Also, certain historical events like 9/11 affected my business. All businesses were closed, mandatory closed during that time. So that had an impact. The real estate crash. That because all of a sudden all of my big real estate customers and the banks and all that, they kind of went away for a while, you know, and it was 2 or 3 years before we really saw corporate spending start to come back on the rise. And then of course we had COVID. I mean, so I've always had those kind of challenges, but what I remember is like Dory, keep swimming. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Finding Nemo. But you have to keep moving. You have to find new ways to do business. You have to find new ways to connect with your customers. You have to find new ways to be relevant to customers that aren't doing business with you. And that's something that I've always done, and I think that helped me. And always realizing that the glass is half full. No matter what it looks like, there's always tomorrow, and you can do it. You just have to stay consistent and stay on the path. Around 2001, I became interested in becoming more healthy, more fit. And so I started taking classes and watching what I was eating and doing all that. And eventually one of the other instructors said, hey, you'd be a good instructor. And I thought, okay. So I went and got certified as a fitness instructor. And then, hey, you'd be a great personal trainer. Went and got certified as a personal trainer. So I decided that I wanted to get an advanced degree in personal training, and I went to a conference that hosted not only the theory and the personal trainers and the coaches, but also the men and women that they train. So we could see in real 3D how the theory and the practice resulted in the excellence. And I mean, this was at the Arnold Classic, which is definitely the epitome of the fitness world. So at that point, I decided I wanted to be a bodybuilder because somebody said, I think you could do this. But the breast cancer interrupted that process. I discovered that, I had a lump in my breast through self-examination. And later on, after having a biopsy, found out that it was breast cancer and that it had spread into my lymph nodes, which resulted in me having to have a mastectomy and removal of 18 lymph nodes in the process. So it was a difficult time. I had multiple surgeries. My chemotherapy was very, very strong because at that time I was under the age of 40 and to my knowledge did not have a family history. It wasn't until I revealed to my extended family that I was diagnosed with breast cancer that I found out that indeed there was a family history. And so that changed everything. Where they were already aggressive, it just took it to a whole nother level. So it wasn't until 2015 that I was released from oncology care. They felt that they had done everything they could do and basically wished me well, gave me my first sponsorship towards my bodybuilding career, and away I went. And so I've been doing it ever since. Yes, recently, and I'm very excited about it, I won the title of Miss Indiana Bodybuilding for 2023-2024. That was always something I aspired to do because that's the highest level in the state of Indiana, and I get to represent my state in other parts of the world and other parts of the country, and I'm so excited and so proud to do that. A lot of times when I announce where I'm from, they go, Indiana, where's that? I said, honey, there's more than corn from Indiana. So let me tell you. So I have fun with it and I enjoy it, but I enjoy encouraging people. That's the most part, meeting new folks and encouraging people. There are some things that I can't plan for. I couldn't plan for COVID, couldn't plan for 9/11, couldn't plan for anything. So it's kind of like you take what's presented before you, and then you figure out what the best way is to navigate that. But then I also have goal setting as well, where regardless as to what intervening incidents may happen, these are goals that I want to accomplish, and so I'm always moving towards those goals, whether it's becoming Miss Indiana or perhaps Miss Olympia one day. All of those are goals that I am aspiring to. Well, my next big thing after the Plant Matters Conference will be the Women's Cancer Survivor Brunch and Resource Fair that is held Saturday, October 21st here at Matchbox. And I'm excited about that because one of the things I realized when I was diagnosed with my cancer and had to navigate all of these things, the resources weren't all readily there or readily apparent. And one of the other things that I experienced a lot with was depression. I struggled with that because my self-image had changed. I had a mastectomy, I had chemo, I had hair loss, I had all of these things. So it wasn't until I went to an American Cancer Society's program called Look Good, Feel Better that really tackled that we as women internalize and react to our cancers different than men who are going through a cancer. And that, we need some help to understand how to navigate our new normal, and that we are still beautiful whether we have hair, whether we have breasts, or any of that other stuff. And that's what it inspired me to become a certified counselor for ACS. And now we're having an event here in Lafayette. So it is free to women. Cancer survivors. It has nothing to do with whether you have breast cancer or ovarian cancer. If you are a woman cancer survivor, your ticket is sponsored. And we're looking for people to sponsor the tickets for the women cancer survivors so they can take advantage of it. But we were going to have cosmetologists there that talk about the hair loss, but more importantly, what do you do about it? Are there treatments that you can do, or what are your options? We're going to have skincare people, estheticians. I know I had terrible breakouts constantly. How do you calm down the skin? How do you wear makeup if you're having these kind of issues? So they're going to get some real knowledge. There's also going to be some entertainment there as well. But at the end of the day, it's about empowerment and education. And that's what we want to bring to the area. So if you are a woman cancer survivor, regardless of the cancer, you are welcome to come to the brunch.
The Women's Cancer Survivor Brunch and Resource Fair is set for Saturday, October 21st from 11 to 2 at the Matchbox Co-working Center in Lafayette. That is today's Business Equity and Opportunities. Thanks to all of our storytellers today. If you'd like to learn more about anything we talked about on the show, find links to our website, beoshow.com. Scanning the QR code right now gets you there. While you're there, look from the segments from our past shows, 7 weekly topics. Watch them, download them, use the buttons underneath to share them with anybody that it would be helpful for. Please listen to and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. It's on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for the newsletter that we update every Tuesday. And if you have questions or a success story to share, we want to hear it. Send us an email at beo@wishtv.com. We'll see you next week for more Business Equity and Opportunities. Until then, go get to business.
Business, Equity, and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation, InnoPower, Bose McKinney & Evans, Gemco, Fifth Third Bank, and IU Indianapolis.